Well, how's it going, friends and family? My name is Amos, and this one's going to be a little different. Reason being is my mental health has been in a rough patch lately, for the past few weeks. Just very dark thoughts, depressed mood, and sad energy all around. It's really annoying, but I just can't help but reflect on my past choices, my failures, my mistakes, and how this is really embarrassing to say, but how I feel like such a loser in my current chapter of life. In the eyes of society, dude, I'm not stupid. I'm aware, okay? I'm a nobody because I'm a stay at home parent. But between you and me, I fundamentally disagree with that. But, most people would think I'm a dimwit because I'm not contributing to a company and because I don't have a W 2. Deep down, I know letting those thoughts take over is very, very selfish. And it doesn't just end the pain, it spreads it on to other people. I have a baby that's depending on me, two dogs to care for, and a community on YouTube that actually enjoys my content. Well, I hope you do, right? Maybe that's why you're here. That's why I know that I cannot yield to the dark thoughts. And a lot of this, after thinking about it, it stemmed from our recent big move. I was living in Japan for 3.5 years, just came back to the US, to a very hot, humid section of the US near New Orleans, Louisiana. It completely disrupted my daily structure because I'm a very organized, systematic kind of guy. I like to repeat and do things as a routine day in and day out. Some people might find that mundane or boring, but I love that. But because of the move and the jet lag and everything else, I stopped doing the basic everyday things that usually keeps my outlook positive. So which brings me to this video today. What am I gonna do to turn this ship around? Obviously, I can't keep living my life this way because I know it's not a good way to live life because I've been here before multiple times. So this video will be a conversation around depression and how to keep it at bay. So if you're not interested in that, feel free to click away. I'm going to be pulling out some notes straight from my little diary. I'm one of those weird guys that journal his thoughts, stuff that went well, stuff that did not go well, improvement opportunities, and I reflect a lot. I'm a weirdo. And keep in mind, I wrote every word of this myself. So it's a formula that I've refined over time with trial and error. I think in the past I did a lot of extreme measures, didn't really work. So this is what worked for me. And it should go without saying, just because it worked for me, it does not mean that it will work for everyone. But I still think it will be very beneficial and helpful to someone else in my shoes, especially if you're not doing medication or doing therapy. So it's basically a note to myself. So if you've ever read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, it's written in that same voice and tone. A note to myself. This was never meant for a YouTube audience. Okay, so here we go. This is like the overview. Just like working out and being consistent to feel the effects, or doing knees over toes, pre-injury rehab to be pain-free, the same rule applies to a resilient mental health. You can't just put it on the back burner and expect magical things. Because as we all know, one gym session changes nothing. I mean, you might get a little bit of a pump. You might look in the mirror and feel good, but 24 hours after that workout, it goes away. But putting in the sweat equity 100 times in a single calendar year, you're going to have consequences, lasting effects, usually for the better. So number one, do not dwell, ruminate, or ponder about the past. Seriously, No what ifs. You physically cannot change what happened 5, 10, 15 years ago. You have to let it go. Stop reliving the past. You can only focus and prioritize on making less mistakes in the present tense. From 2018 to 2023, also very embarrassing, but to be fully transparent, I was just withering away by living in the past and going over what could have been scenarios in my head, especially at night when I would lay there in bed. I would stay up all night just thinking about the mistakes and the choices and quitting. I'm a chronic quitter. Almost every endeavor in my life, whenever it got too challenging, I quit. And I hate that about myself. So in my 30s, I've made it my mission to whatever I start, I finish. I will not throw in the towel because for 29 years, that was my default action. And so by doing the whole what if scenarios, I would always think about like, what if I just did that one action differently or said something else or wore a different t-shirt? But you know what? No matter how much you think about the past, ain't nothing going to change. And by repeating the past in your head, you ruin your future and any potential of good days because you would rather drown in your own misery. And the crazy thing is that phrase right there, someone very important in my life said that to me. They were like, you're better off just drowning in your own misery because that's what you want anyways. And I remember at the time I was taken aback, but when you're in that negative frame of mind and all you can see, think, and feel is negativity, that's what you actively seek out and want. Unless you're in a proper perspective to retain and enact change, no amount of self-help, no amount of therapy will do anything. Like you have to want that change. And so when you seek out that negativity and seek out the pain, nobody can help you. You have to start with yourself. Number 2, difficult and strenuous physical exercise is really good for you, such as sprinting. This is why I started to play soccer in Japan, jogging 10 miles, half marathons, ruck marching, and more. I think for an individual like me, just walking is not enough. I think for some people it could be enough, but for me, it just doesn't really do anything. But whenever I would be out of breath from jumping and sprinting, it's a game changer. And that's because the brain releases chemicals to elevate the mood when you do this, and you know it. I have exercised my way out of depression multiple times in life. And to be quite frank, there was a period of my life where I stopped working out. I was very nihilistic and I got to the point where I was like, why burden myself with trying to do the right things, with going to the gym or taking care of myself? What's the point of flossing my teeth or showering? Doesn't matter. We're all going to die anyways. Terrible, terrible mindset in hindsight. And at the time, I was eating whatever I wanted. I felt miserable, looked terrible, and my mental health was at its lowest. I mean, does it come as a surprise? I mean, at the time, I was like, wait, why am I feeling worse? I thought by doing whatever I wanted, I should feel better. I have found that when I am continuously pushing myself, challenging myself, and taking care of my body, my mind and spirit are in a positive place. Now, why? And how? Because it builds confidence, reduces laziness, it gives you repetition and resiliency, and it clears your mind, especially if you have a lot of thoughts in your head. Take it out. Go to the gym, let out all of your emotions on the weights or on the pull-up bar. Don't do it to yourself and don't do it to others. And the fact that I can work out, it's a blessing in itself, and I don't want to take that for granted. Another reason to work out if you are feeling down is because I want my body to operate at its best. Now, what does that look like? Think about it with some of your most prized materialistic possessions in life, such as a vehicle. You pour money into your car to make sure that it runs smoothly. At least some of us do. I know there's some of you out here that are wild. You go 20,000 miles before you do an oil change, let alone do any maintenance, but oil changes, maintenance, rotating the tires, changing out the air filters. And the same goes for your home. If you own a home, you do the necessary remodeling, appliance updates, and everything else to make sure that it's good to go. But when it comes time for our own body, our temple, we neglect it. We do the bare minimum. And the funny thing is, our bodies were designed to be athletic, to be in motion, to jump, to run, to sprint, and to work for us, not against us. Take care of your body because you only get one. And I feel like that's wisdom that you don't really take into heart in your teenage years, let alone in your 20s. We feel like we're invincible and we're going to live forever. But I really wish I would have been more consistent in taking care of my body and my ears. I have tinnitus. It sucks. It rings all the time. That's because of my prior life of being in the military. But whatever. Number 3, weird physiological tricks. Cold showers, so cold exposure therapy to snap you out of bad thoughts, but also slow, intentional deep breaths to fully oxygenate my body, especially before making any decision or responding. I didn't say react, responding. Take a deep breath. 9 out of 10 times, just that pause is enough to make sure that you're not going to do something that you're going to regret. This is a game changer because all day you do short and shallow breaths. Even while I'm filming this video, I have to be mindful of this because I don't breathe and then I get really tired. Because think about it, you're expending a lot of energy without allowing your body to get the oxygen that it needs to properly talk or to do anything. Case in point, we tend to hold our breath when checking or digesting something that gives us anxiety. So I wrote this a while ago. Checking your work email. We involuntarily stop breathing while reading the email, especially if you know it's not a good one. Or if you've ever been on a 55-minute phone call with customer service, if you look at your face in the mirror, it's all red from frustration and lack of breathing while they put you on hold for the 5th time. So be mindful of breathing, and when you need to, splash cold water on your face. Breathing is a game changer. I'm a freak. So I actually believe in the Wim Hof philosophy. And then number 4, intentionally doing hard things is very, very good for the soul. It's a value add. Set goals that challenge you and actively pursue them. Though it's really important to remember that it's not just about crossing the finish line. That's not the whole idea. I would say the journey is more important than the destination. It's about the practice of chasing something meaningful. I mean, yes, in a perfect world, achieving whatever goal that you set for yourself is awesome, but the pursuit of chasing after a dream and a clear target helps motivate you in the day-to-day. As humans, we need purpose in life. Otherwise, we can yield and default to toxic behaviors and patterns. When your days are full of intentional purpose, dark thoughts have a lot less room to take over. In other words, stay busy. Have a goal and work towards it. For instance, on this YouTube channel, I don't really talk about it too much, but it's one that I'm actively pursuing. It's to hit 100,000 subscribers and to reach a portfolio valuation of $800,000 so that I can switch on over to a high yield income strategy rather than what I'm doing right now. And outside of investing, I'm trying to learn the Korean language again so I can teach it to my daughter because I want her to be bilingual. One of my biggest disappointments in life is I was never taught Korean growing up. So I had to learn it as an adult in my mid 20s, or I guess early 20s. It's so much more difficult to learn something when you're an adult. It's so much easier to just pick up a second or a third language when you're 2 or 3 or 4 years old. It's so much easier. And that's why I'm trying to give her that benefit. Number 5. This one, by the way, this eyelid is twitching it's twitching so much. The past 3 days, I've gotten terrible sleep. Terrible sleep. Number 5. This one is common sense. You gotta stay away from sad content, depressing music, and shows and movies that put you into a bad mood. This includes eliminating all media consumption that is centered around politics, outrage, or polarizing content in which the sole purpose is to divide people. That gets the reactions and the engagement, and that's why some people do it. For the average person, watching a movie about trauma and drama could be enjoyable, but you're not the average person. You're prone to depression. So avoid that stuff like it's the plague. And I wrote right here an excerpt. When working on an analysis or breaking down a stock, listen to happy, upbeat, and cheerful music like the Mexican mariachi, 70s disco, A State of Trance by Armin van Buuren, and even a Native American powwow music. I know, I listen to everything and anything. It's stupid, but you become what you consume. And number 6, I just alluded to it. It's a bit challenging right now with a little one in the house. She's about to turn 10 months old. But sleeping at a reasonable time every single day. This includes the weekend. Sometimes you're not depressed, you're just tired. It's hard to feel happy when your tank is completely empty. I mean, I'm sure you've all experienced it before. Getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep uninterrupted versus 2 hours like I did. It's a world of difference. In college, especially around midterms and final exams, or in the corporate world when I had a big project deliverable, getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep for the entire week, every single day, was normal. And I was running on empty, and it sucks looking back. So prioritizing that sleep is so important. And then number 7, periodically, you gotta spend time in nature, just soaking it all in, even if it's raining. Go to the mountains, beach, lake, river, whatever, somewhere that reminds you that you're just one small part of a much bigger world. The world does not revolve around you. And there's a therapeutic effect of being in Mother Nature. And I think right here I want to add some commentary. I had this toxic mindset and mentality when I was younger where I believed that I was the main character in a movie. But the older that I get, the more I realize that every single human that you cross paths with, even those of you that are watching this video or commenting, every single one of you live a life that's just as complex and complicated as my own life, and you're also a main character. Reason being is that when I was younger, I would treat people like they're a side cast or someone that's just irrelevant to the story. And that was a really terrible way to operate as a human. And now that I'm older, I realize everyone is just as important as me. Everyone deserves the best as well, not just me. Their feelings and considerations matter too, not just what I want. So it's different. I think in the past, I would always try to get what I want, right? That was the utmost importance. Now, I always try to default myself to the back. Like, what's better for my daughter? What's better for my wife? What's better for you? What's better for him? What's better for her? I'd rather you guys get what you want and me be the vessel and the instrument to help you get there. Because to help someone else achieve freedom, financial independence, or to make coherent strategic investing decisions or whatever it is better rather than me just prioritizing myself and being selfish. I think being selfish is a really sad way to live your life because you're a narcissist. Your whole world is just you, and everyone else is a distraction or a nuisance, or they're just in the way. And that's just not a way to live your life. I think life is more about how can you contribute to society, help out those that are around you, but also to be a valuable member rather than someone that takes away, someone that hurts, someone that manipulates, whatever. Okay, number 8, and then last but not least, change the language that you use in your head, not only with others, but to yourself as well. Use positive words whenever possible because nobody can truly be happy or have a good time when you are constantly cynical or negative, complaining about anything and everything. This includes the YouTube comment section. That's about as big as my eyes can get. I think we all know someone like that. Someone that just complains all the time, a Debbie Downer, a grouchy Gary. And the thing is, you might only interact with them for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on the circumstance or the interaction itself. But imagine that person's shoes. That's who they wake up with, spend all day with, and go to bed with. That person, that dialogue in their head is always toxic, negative, speaks hatred, is racist, is a bigot, is just full of life draining. And I can't imagine. I can't. Actually, I can't. I've been there. I know what it's like to always just say, dude, I suck. I shouldn't even be here. I should just be gone. I should disappear. I wish I wouldn't wake up. I know what it's like to be there. It's terrible. It's terrible. And this idea needs to be manifested in all areas of your thought process. Are you a grateful person? Or do you take things for granted, such as your air conditioning, your Wi-Fi, your housing situation? By the way, I'm living in an Airbnb right now for another 4 months. When I first moved in here, the AC in the bottom half of the townhome wasn't operating. It sucked. So to have AC again, dude, absolutely a blessing. For those of you watching this that have AC, especially during this heat wave in the summer, dude, you gotta be grateful for that because there are some regions and parts of the world where they do not have AC. They're just sticky and sweating all the time because there's no AC in their home. Are you kind to other people, or are you always neutral and transactional? Force yourself to lean into positive thoughts, even if it feels awkward or unnatural. Sometimes your brain can't tell the difference. And if you're smiling more often, your mood can be lifted. They did a lot of research and studies on this. Like if you're smiling all the time, even if you're pissed off or not having a good time, it can help. Statistically, it can help elevate the mood. It's crazy. So just something to be mindful of. So the word of the day is consistency. You can't just try one of these changes once and expect lasting results. That's one of the mistakes that I made in the past. I would just go gung-ho with this entire list, maybe for like 24 hours, and I'd be like, I don't feel any difference. This is stupid. Talking in that negative type of way. But it takes time. It takes repetition. You have to stay disciplined and execute even when you don't feel like it. Oftentimes, we don't feel like doing what's good for us because it feels like a chore, a task, and it's just easier to just skip workouts, to eat junk food, to be lazy, but you know exactly what path that takes you on. And remember, the right habits can move mountains. Do these changes often, and with repetition, it'll become second nature, like wiping your booty hole after dropping a protein bar. Such a weird guy. Why should I write that in my diary? But anyways, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm dealing with. I'm not asking for sympathy or to be like, oh, I'm really not. I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm just being transparent. Like, as a man, this is something that I struggle with and I deal with. It comes and goes in waves, right? And that's why I learned that even if you're going through a really tough time, a patch in your life, everything is a season. It's not going to last forever. Like you might feel like it's permanent, your problem or whatever it is that you're struggling with, but it's just winter, baby. Right around the corner is going to be spring and then summer. Like for me right now, I know that this is not forever. I know there are better days ahead. How do I know that? Because I've lived 35 years already. There were good times in life and there were terrible moments in life, lowlights, like during breakups, or when you lose money, or when catastrophic events happen. Terrible. But then there are also highlights of life, right? Like holding my baby daughter in my arms. She's the first baby that I've ever held before. I've never held a baby before that. And to have like a precious life in my hands, I was like, dude, this is surreal. This is wild. Or graduating from trade school, university, or whatever it is. And that's why I know I just have to stick it out. I know I just have to keep going because what's the alternative, right? Yeah. Anyways, going through a tough time, so I love you guys. And if this is you as well, dude, hang in there. Seriously. Stay strong. Because if I'm pushing through, you have what it takes to do it as well. I'm such a weak human. I might come across acting like I'm a know-it-all, and I'm sorry if I ever behave in a conceited manner. I'm not. I am so weak. I'm frail. I'm sensitive. I get emotional at times, and if I can hang in there and not give in, you can do it as well. Just keep it up. Just know that there's at least one person that cares about you. I care about you. I truly do. Otherwise, I wouldn't sit here like an idiot on a Saturday afternoon filming this, right? I genuinely hope this reaches someone who needs it. Uh, I'm rambling now. I love you guys. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you really soon.